Okay guys, so here's the disassembly video for the Black Series Imperial Speeder Mini. Here's your little dude. So this one's already cut up. I don't have another one to show you from start. So basically it's just a lot of careful prying. In the beginning you're gonna have, these are gonna be on here. These were the only ones I really couldn't get apart where I could use them again. So I had to kind of go in here with a knife and cut it there. And you have this right here. Okay. And then that will separate. And then this comes out. Same thing on the other side. You have this. The first one I tried to pry, so it kind of got messed up. Now this one I cut. I got smarter. And this will screw on to the new frame. Take your flaps off. This piece on the bottom pops out. That wasn't really glued, or there's like a little lip there. You see that? Okay. And then this one was a pain in the butt to get out. I had to really pry it because there's like 2 pegs in there, and you get that. But I don't know if I'm going to use this again or not. Anyway, I got it out. The legs, they come right out. The feet, where the feet go, comes right out. Then this part here separates like that. That really wasn't in there too hard either. Again, when you're prying this stuff, you can kind of tell when it's going to break. So just don't go beyond that and go slowly. I used like a screwdriver. This part was a little bit harder because there's 3 connecting points. You can see them all, and all 3 were glued. 1, 2, and 3, and they were all glued. But just a lot of gentle prying and it came out. As you noticed, I already cut out my control panel because that's where the new one is going to go. So then that leaves us with a bunch of pieces. So here is where I'm at with mine. I've been getting hung up on this little booger here and getting the right firmware on these Hobby King Blue Series. I was going to use the bear hugs, and they would have fit up in here nicely, like here and here. The bear hugs would fit, but they're also kind of unproven, and I'm not ready to start messing with that. So I decided to go with something different. Oh, and by the way, these little ESC holders I got to redo in black or nylon, and then dye them. And you can buy these from me too. They're cheap if you want them. Okay. And I already cut the heat shrink off of here and flashed this with BL Heli with 1 shot. And then over here, this is where the flight controller is going to go. And I kind of have this cut out to fit in there. That's a piece of foam. And the trick is getting this wired in here. So this is the Flip 32 Racing Edition. I just found out that the regular Flip 32 Mini, this plugs right in, no problem. And then I'm going to run Clean Flight, and it's easily defined within Clean Flight, and you don't have to do any fancy wiring. So I may just sell this board. It's kind of not worth it to me. And this, your pin here, this is your T-pin. Get this thing over here. I got a box full of parts. Taking all the parts out. We can go over what each part does in case you're confused. Those are all nuts and bolts. We don't need those. More ESCs. So this is the frame, and I tried to make the frame so as much as possible snaps in. This snaps in here. You may have to ream that out. That's as easy as taking a razor knife or a drill bit. You're gonna have to find the right size drill bit to fit in there. This is the T part I was talking about. So this goes in there, which then fits in there. And then it's as simple as driving a screw through the seat, and then that will hold the frame up and in. If you want, you can add another screw in the front or something, but you can see where I'm at with this one. Now this just snaps right in there, and now my flight control is going to sit up here, and the LEDs are going to light up. I tried to angle this to match the angle of that, but that was really difficult. And then you start getting into degrees and all that. And maybe later I tried developing a mount that would fit up and under there, but there's just so much in the way. I really couldn't do it. This was supposed to fit up in there, but didn't work out that way. That's another part under development. Alright, and in the back here, this is this piece here. One side of this piece is going to come machined a little so that it fits in, and then I clamp this together in the vise and I run a drill bit through it. And I run one of these suckers right through there. Now all these pieces, these are all machined, and I machined them by hand in a little Shoreline mill, and I run a carbon tube through there and make sure that this surface is parallel to the axis of the carbon tube, because when you're printing this type of plastic, the PCT-PE, which is very soft and flexible, it warps a little. So a fresh piece like this will have a little bit of a curve to it, and the motor may sit like a half a degree off, and I'm sure you guys are going to get picky. Really wouldn't matter, but I decided to machine it flat, go the extra mile. Okay, and this is what a piece looks like before I dye it. It gets put on the stove in a bunch of dye for 10-15 minutes. So there's the printing process. This part takes like 5 hours. 4 of those take probably like another 5 hours. Then the little accessory pieces take another hour or 2. These pieces right here. And then your booms are going to go in here. Right in there like that. And this is your jig for drilling out your carbon booms. Now this, let's see, the bottom, we don't need the main body anymore. This will snap in like this. And where's the front? Yeah, here we go. Front will snap in here like this. I tried to make the clearances so that everything fits in there tight. That's in there really tight and should pop out in a crash. And this stuff is like super strong and flexible. Oh, by the way, the main frame is bridge plastic. They call it bridge. I think it's nylon ABS mix, because the PCT-PE is too flexible and this frame would have flexed way too much. You need a little rigidity in there, so when this thing starts pulling around, it's not going to go like this. But these motor pods are thick enough and strong enough that to make it out of the PCT-PE, and this stuff is just like, it's incredibly strong. You're not breaking this stuff. Don't pull the drawer out all the way. I mean, it ain't going anywhere. Yes, I use the plane as a hammer. Okay. And then this is going to go on here like this. Now you're starting to get the bigger picture. And your little dude's going to go on there. And we're going to have to screw him down or something. And now you're starting to see it all come to shape. And I guess I'll add a few more videos. I'll put the links up on this video as I add them. Show you how to drill out the parts if you need to drill anything out. This is not machined. I do run a drill bit through there and there for you. Oh yeah, let's see, let's get down here. Get the nuts. Gotta show you how to put the nuts in there. I'm now providing the nuts with the kit. I bought a bunch, and these are nylon lock nuts, and these are gonna go. I made these holes to fit these lock nuts perfectly, so you're gonna have to play with it a little. Maybe use pliers to get them to go in there straight, and then you can just push them in and they'll go in, and then run your screws up in there through this. Don't over tighten stuff, just tighten it till it's snug. It's just plastic, it's not aluminum. You don't have to go crazy. You can see how this lines up like that, but it doesn't line up like that. I don't know if you can see that or not. So there's a right side and a wrong side. Alright, so hopefully that's going to help you guys out a little bit who already got some frames. I'm dying to get this thing going. My stumbling blocks have been designing stuff. I literally made probably about 8 of these in different materials, and each one takes 5 hours to print, and a lot of development there. Then I probably made like another 8 more for ones that people wanted to buy them. So I've been busy doing that, and busy learning about One Shot and the new BL Heli, and also learning about this Flip 32 racing with CleanFlight. This is all new to me, so there was a learning curve. So I've been busy. So I'll add links to this video in the future, so come back and check. I'll just try and put them all up at the end and in the description and on the thread on our street groups. Alright, thanks for watching. This is a little quick video to show how to drill out this plastic if you need to. This is the jig for drilling holes in the booms. If you need to purchase more booms, they don't come pre-drilled. When you drill carbon, you should wear a mask. Do it with an exhaust fan. Be very careful. Read up on carbon on the internet and how bad it is for you. And wear your goggles. You don't want carbon in your eye or whatever. So these are supposed to come pre-drilled. I should have drilled them for you, and the carbon should fit in there like that. You may want to wet them a little so they slide through better. I made them tight like that on purpose. If they're not drilled, like this one is an original one, drilling for an 8mm shaft is simple as using a 5/16 drill bit. That's the closest thing I have. And you just put it in a vise and run your drill bit through. If you have a drill press, you can try and set that up. That might be better. That's it. And then when you're going to go and drill your booms, you're going to want to use this one, which is, I'll put it a note on the screen what size that is. carbon boom in there. Fits nice and tight. Like I said, if you wet it, it'll hold up a little better. And I put it in a vise. And what I do is, I should have said that before, I measure the boom and I make a center mark with like a white or gold marker, and I line the center mark up with the hole. So now I know I'm in the center. So the front boom is going to get one hole in the center. The rear boom is going to use the two outer holes. Okay. So I'm just going to put one hole in this scrap piece here. And just simple as that. And then getting this off, I didn't lubricate this, so now after you drill the hole, or after you cut carbon, you can clean it up a little, very lightly. I'm barely using any pressure at all to clean this up. And then take some thin viscosity CA and dab the holes. And you can hit it with a little bit of accelerator if you want. Then once that's done, then you can shape the holes up a little further if you want. I don't think you should really touch it too much, and that'll keep it from splintering. There you have it. Same thing with the motor pods, but I've pre-drilled these already also, so you shouldn't have any problem. The motor pods get drilled out the same way. I'm drilling the motor pods and machining them. I have to drill them to machine them, so you won't have to do this, but I'll just show you briefly what I'm doing. I put it in the vise, put a little bit of pressure on it, and that's it. And now these fit on here very good, like so. And really, when you put these on, you're probably only going to need one screw to hold this on. One screw will hold this a lot. Like on these, this will hold. I only have one screw. I'll probably cut the end off a little to make it flush with a cutoff wheel. And I don't even have that tight yet, but they don't have to be like ultra tight. We want a little give in a crash. It'll give a little, not that much of course, but we're going to tighten that up a little more. I have something printing over here, and in case you were wondering what this little piece was, I'll tell you right now. Now you can opt to have your motors straight, but I figured if your motors were straight, when you go forward it's going to lean like this, and that's going to look funny. So I'm doing the motors like this, which is kind of cool, because once the guy is on there, he's kind of sitting and it looks cool. And then when he's going, it's going to be like this for the effect. If it's not a Stormtrooper, it's a crash dummy. Oh, we're not going to take crash dummy down right now. So this little jig here is just to get you a ballpark of 10 degrees. If I can figure out how that goes. Oh, like this. If you hold this jig on here, flat surface to flat surface, loosen up your pods. Just turn it like this so you can see it. This is going to give you your 10 degrees. Now obviously you see that's off, so you would turn it until it matches that, and then turn this until it matches that. And there you have it. That's your 10 degrees of tilt. That's an easy way of doing it. One is in relationship to the other, so it should be 10 degrees in relationship to the frame. Then in your CleanFlight or BaseFlight software, you can reposition the flight controller. You can tell it that it's 10 degrees off, so that when it's hovering like this and the flight controller is sitting at 10 degrees also, the motors will be level. So probably going to fly this with auto level on most of the time to keep it realistic looking. And there you have that.